Hello friends, welcome to my channel for learning simple coding. If you find this video to be helpful, please like, share and subscribe my channel. In last video we have seen what is client-side rendering, what is the difference between client-side rendering and server-side rendering. I have explained with the help of diagram, and we see how we can render the information at client side. In this video we are going to learn what is server-side rendering, how to fetch data from REST API using server-side rendering. So in the last video I have explained this diagram. If a client make a request and that request is compiled at the server side, at the web server hosting machine, and the output of HTML or some other page is sent to the client side and client side do not respond on that, that is called server side rendering. But if client make a request and the request goes to the server and server use the React.js or some other particular framework component and send back to the client machine, and client browser execute that code by the help of JavaScript, that is called client side rendering. So React support client side rendering, that's why it's a slow, but Next.js support both client side rendering and server side rendering. In last example I have explained how to use client side rendering. In this example I'm going to explain how to use server side rendering. For that, under the web route directory I create here server side. Remember, here I say under server side I create one file, I say page.js, and the same code which I written here I just copy and paste here. Remember that I will make some changes only, so remove this, no need of this, no need of any React component. Remember, no need of this because React cannot be run on server side. So we can't use this state variable. Remember this, we can't use this. In place of this we say const and we say here users, and I create this as a array like this. It would be like a array users. Remember that I fetch this information and I fetch this information, and use effect cannot be used because use effect is also part of React, so I remove this. Remember that, and I make this here and I remove this one also. Under the return folder we have everything, no problem at all. So I need to make a coding. We have this user and I create it user, and here I say user data to fetch it, and because it's a fetch library, it says promise based library, so I say async here. So I'm using await, and this data which I am using, this data is coming here, so that data is coming in array form. So I just remove this and I directly say it to users. Remember, I directly say it to user. So data is coming server side by using fetch library, same library I am using that I used at client side rendering. User data we have here, and here I say user data.json, this I am using here, and then I have a users. Remember, here in place of user I say users because this array I will use here now, and same array have a map, everything is okay, no problem at all, and I say server side rendering. So remember that in server side rendering I am not using any React component or hook, I am just using a pure JavaScript code. Now because it's a client side component rendering, so I use again navigation, and in navigation in place of modal I say here server side, and I put the URL also, I say server side. Save this and go to the page. This is home. In last video we have seen this is client side rendering, and its client side is executing same code. Here I click on server, and you will see that as server side it will execute the data from server side also. You see that data is coming at server side also. You see client side is also coming. I click on server side is also coming. So at the both the end we are rendering information. This information we are rendering from the server side, and this information we are rendering from the client side. So this information we are rendering from the client side. You see, code is here, same code we have, Client side we use hooks, but here we are not using hook, we are using a normal JavaScript objects and fetch library, and we are rendering this data. Remember this. So we cover both the interview question, what is server side rendering and how to display data from REST API using server side rendering. So that's all in this video. If you learn something, if you learn some good concept you understand from this video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching this video.